Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Year of Magical Learning. This is the YOML podcast. Actually, we are on book reflection 200,
Yeah.
200. So maybe this is a special one. Maybe this is an interesting one. I can't wait. So Chris, let me know. Introduce the reflection and let's dive in.
Yeah, for sure. So this actually could be a really fun conversation, just knowing what we were just talking about right before this. We were on a tangent ranting about work projects that are non-meaningful work projects. And this reflection is about meaningful work has the power to transform us from destroyers to creators. So the book that this is reflection was generated from was this book called The Professor and the Madman. It's a tale of murder, insanity, and the making of the Oxford English Dictionary by Simon Winchester. So essentially what the story is about, it's about two dudes' lives. One of them is a professor, and one of them is a madman, just like the title says, right? So the professor, his name was James Murray, and he was tasked to oversee the creation of the Oxford English Dictionary. So he, created the dictionary as we know it, right? Like, compiling all the English words together and making the definitions and, getting them all into one spot so people could have a common language, which is really important. I never, ever, before reading this book, ever thought anything about the dictionary. I was like, well, the dictionary is just there. I never really thought about how it came to be, right? And for the Oxford English Dictionary, this is the story of its creation. And the madman is this guy named W.C. Minor, who is he's a schizophrenic. But this is back in the 1800s, before like diagnosed, schizophrenia was even in existence. So he actually killed somebody and got sent to an insane asylum, and he lived the rest of his days in this insane asylum. And he had an instrumental role in helping to create the Oxford English Dictionary, where he was a collaborator on this project, because they crowdsourced for the day. They crowdsourced the definitions of the Oxford English Dictionary and how they made the definitions over the course of like 70 years. And James Murray oversaw the project essentially, but they would have people just send in, they would say, we're working on these words and these letters and this segment or whatever, and then people would go and scour a bunch of different like books and things like that and try to come up with the definition, and then they would send it in for review. And this madman was one of like the most prolific reviewers and the submitters of words for the Oxford English Dictionary project, and nobody ever knew where he came from. Nobody ever knew where these words were coming from until one day the professor that was overseeing this whole entire thing actually did get to meet the guy and found out, oh, he's actually a nut job, and he lives in an insane asylum, and then they actually ended up forming a lifelong bond together as well. But this guy was like instrumental in creating the Oxford English Dictionary. He like submitted more like words and things like that than anybody else out there, and he was a nut job that lived in an insane asylum. So that's what this book's about. It's actually a really interesting book, and the reflection, like I said, is about meaningful work, and meaningful work has the power to transform us from destroyers into creators. So first off, does that book sound interesting to you? I don't know. I mean, what do you think?
I don't know. I mean, making a dictionary is not something clicks my ear.
Fair enough. So I thought it was really good. I liked it. But I just thought it was a good story. And actually, I don't know if you remember where I got this book from. This came from an anti-book club meeting. You remember that Brooke lady that came one time, and she talked about she was really excited about a couple of her books, and one of those was this one, and the other one was this book called The Hot Zone. And The Hot Zone will be coming up in a few weeks. So in this journey as we do more reflections, but I started this reflection off just by the compound effect, right? Right. I mean, like, come on, like, what? I've never would have found this book ever. It was the anti-book club. It was some lady that we never knew that came out, and expressed her stuff that she was passionate about learning about, and it didn't pique my interest, and now here we are writing about it. Like, I mean, how cool is that, right? The compound effect, and then you and I are talking about it, and who knows where this goes from here. Right. So very, very cool, right? So my reflection at a high level though is this guy W.C. Minor, the Madman, like he was sick, right? Like, I mean, he had a you know, I guess modern day, diagnosis would be of schizophrenia. Like, the guy was troubled. And one of the things that he loved to do when he got sentenced and put into prison, he like devoured books, and he loved to learn. Like, this was what he did all day, every day, to keep his mind occupied. As he was locked up in prison, he the story of how he even came to find the crowdsourcing efforts of the Oxford English Dictionaries, because he would get all these new books delivered all the time to the insane asylum, and this was the only thing that kept his mind occupied. He just loved reading and devouring stuff, and it kept the demons at bay, right? Like, and it kept him somehow able to function as a somewhat decent human being in the moment. And the compound effect of him reading and learning every single day, that was what prepared him for this random chance occurrence when he stumbled upon, in one of the books that somebody brought him, this open call to help with the Oxford English Dictionary. And like, talk about, like, the alchemists, and the whole world conspiring, like this meaningful work for this guy. This was him living his values every single day, and him living his values every single day was keeping him. Yeah, he killed a dude. Like, he wasn't a good person. There were certain things about his inner demons that could easily be sidetracked, but by living a life of his values, and trying his best to produce meaningful work, ultimately, led him in the compound effect of his other life, once he, after his demons got the better of him, to go on to be somebody that produced an incredible meaningful work project, and kept himself, as a high level functioning human being for decades and decades and decades of his life in an insane asylum. That kept him on the straight and narrow, that kept him focused, that kept him alert, that kept him engaged in this life. When clearly we saw what happens when he was disengaged in this life. He broke down and killed somebody, like, and it, like, my reflection of this is, like, just the power that meaningful work has, when you get to put your attention and your focus and your and endurance into something that really matters to you. All of a sudden, like, you end up being a key contributor to something that has helped so many people in this world, right? Like, yes, he killed a person, and that's awful. But what he did in the back half of his life, after he was able to find meaningful work and find, a way to bring his values to life, and the stuff that he already did naturally to help other people. Think about all the help that the Oxford English Dictionary has had, and impact it's had on people's lives all over the world, right? So my reflection is about meaningful work has the power to transform us from somebody that was a destroyer to somebody that is a creator, to somebody that is a helpful person, to somebody that is able to advance humanity, that is able to push humanity forward versus trying to destroy humanity. This meaningful work has the power to take a crazy person and make them sane, if you stay focused on caring about what you do every single day. And it was something that just hit me as a really profound thought as I was reading this book. And I'm like, man, this shit, what he was able to focus his mind around, and the stuff that was kind of the good wolf, I guess, if you will, on one of the shoulders, like, it can produce amazing things, like, but on just as easily, if you don't have that in your life, it can do some really bad shit too. So yeah. So anyway, yeah, I'd love to get your thoughts. What do you think?
So I think we have talked enough about a beer must dead, right? But I think going through this reflection, I think it made me think of one other thing. If you don't do the things that you're meant to do,
Yes,
do meaningful work, you will cause harm more likely than not. I
yes,
think this is basically, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, what you're made to do, pretending to be a fox, pretending to be a lion, you're gonna harm yourself and or harm others,
yeah,
because you cannot perform that operations that which require of a wolf, require of an eagle, require of a lion, right? You will fuck up, right?
yes,
And so, to me, this book shows me that it is even more important to do what you're meant to do, meaningful work. And you need to search for yourself, the sooner the better. Because if you don't, when we talk about right before this, we talk
Yeah,
about, you know,
we're talking
I
about
mean,
non-meaningful work, and it has, it's so
I
easy
mean,
to
you
off,
you
you
think
know.
about the lady that put the project forth, right? If she's not passionate about managing people or leading teams, she is creating divides
Right,
among the team and among the company, and she is doing the company a disservice because the teams are not doing the hashtag, you know, one family or
right,
Ohana or
right.
whatever they're trying to persuade you to believe in. And so you think about it, she's doing more harm than good because
Yes,
she isn't. I mean, she's forced to do this and she's trying her best, but even in the best of intention, she's still gonna mess it up. And to me, you know, when you mention like meaningful work has transformed the part from the story, because I think we are going to be more likely to be destroyers
oh yeah,
if we're not doing the thing that we're made to do. If I'm a beaver, I'm not building dams. I'm going, you know, um, in a wolf pack and trying to defend the family or to go hunt. Right? I'm just going to be a hindrance. How can I
it
contribute if I'm not a wolf and I can't run as fast and I can't, you know, have the strength and endurance or whatever that a wolf has? How can I contribute? The only thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to hold them back, just like the lady holds
yes,
you back.
yeah, no, you're exactly, like, I mean, I think you just hit the nail on the head. It's, you started this off by saying a
I'm
beaver
good at
must
that,
dam,
by the way.
and yeah, fair enough. We and modest too, and modest.
Right.
So you started this off by saying a beaver must dam, right? And we talk about that all the time. But I think the question becomes like, what happens when a beaver doesn't dam? Is what you're
Hmm.
getting at,
Yes.
and now, like, here's the thing. Here's the catch-22 of it all. Is you're going to do something, whether you
Hmm.
do. There is no way around that. You're going to do something, like, right, like, and you can either do stuff
Right.
that aligns to the what you naturally do, and it will have an upward, that upward spiral,
Upper spiral. Right.
or you do stuff that naturally doesn't align to you and you'll have a downward spiral, and that downward spiral, you're just going to destroy the shit around you. You're going to become an unhappy person. You're going to destroy your relationships with your wife, your family, your friends, your, you know, your coworkers, whatever. Slowly but surely you'll find yourself, you know, more and more alone and isolated, and blaming everybody, and hating your job, and, you know, blah 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 blah. Or, you know, you're, even if you're in a madman in a psychiatric ward, you can still be on an upward spiral if you align yourself, and as a beaver, to damming versus a beaver not damming. You know, like, I mean, it's not that hard of a concept, and because you're gonna do something. A beaver will do, like, you know, but
I mean,
will a beaver dam, or
a
will a beaver not
being
dam?
will
You know?
do because you know,
Right.
and no one, no nothing can stand still because you live in the time dimension where
You have
thing
to
has
move.
to move. It's
Right.
gonna revolve or it's going to move. And the thing is, you saying, you know, you either you find out who you are, right, and do the thing that meant for you naturally, or you don't. But that's one in a thousand because there's
Right.
only one you finding the right you versus the thing that's not you. Because the thing is not you, it's going to be thousands,
Right.
right? If anything that comes to mind, you become that, right? Chances are you're not going to be the what you're supposed to be. Therefore, you're going to cause harm. And that's the reason why I say you have to try to find who you are. That the sooner the better.
Right.
Because if you don't, chances are you're going to do the wrong thing. You're going to hate doing it because there's no passion in whatever it is that you think you should be doing, and you do a poor job of it.
Right.
If I'm a beaver, I mean, you think about how can I be in a wolf pack or in a lion trying to hunt down, you know, some wildebeest.
Right.
I just can't, you know, I can't even keep up.
Yeah,
And
it's
you
not fun. Like, I mean,
know,
hell, then eventually you're I just have this visual of a beaver in a wolf pack that's like, smoking cigarettes and, drinking himself to death every night. And he's like, guys, I just suck at this. And I'm just going to sit back here and, like self-destruct, because it's like, what else am I going to do? I can't keep up with you all. Like you guys are too good. And I'm just going to self-harm myself all day long, and and you're like,
I mean,
all the wolves are like, what are you doing, man? Like, you gotta try. And you're like, I am trying, but like, this isn't fun for me every single
say,
day.
where
So I'm
were
just gonna,
you?
yeah,
I told you go and round the other route, and you're not there.
right.
I'm running my best. I'm running my fastest. I'm still not there. And, I'm overheated because I have a waterproof pelt. So naturally, all the heat is basically compressed inside my body, didn't release. So
Right.
I can't release the heat as fast
I'm
as you guys
dying.
can.
Yeah, right.
I'm dying. So either you're gonna hurt yourself and or hurt other people, or the other people gonna hurt you because you don't belong here. You're basically the run of the pack, and I'm gonna leave you to die. You
Yeah,
think about it, society can do that to you.
for
They will
sure.
outcast
100%.
you and say, you don't contribute to the hunt. You don't get to eat,
Yeah.
right?
I mean,
You don't get to be part of the pack because you don't contribute. You're not pulling your weight.
you don't think this guy that had schizophrenia probably felt like whatever was going on in his head, like, that he was a part of society? Probably not. Like, I mean, I'm sure that he felt like an outcast and somebody that was lost in this whole entire world, and it ultimately led him to kill somebody. Like, it's not like he was like some crazy murderer. Like, I mean, he went to an insane asylum, and he spent the rest of his days in a pretty peaceful manner, and actually a lot of people liked him. They talk about it a lot in the book. I mean, and he actually became a contributing, human in society. But that when you have that lost feeling, like you get desperate. You either
I
turn
mean,
to self harm or you
when you
turn to the,
lost, you're gonna do the wrong thing,
yeah. I
right?
mean,
Because
when you
you
don't
you're
feel like
trying to
you're in the
find
space,
yourself.
right?
And so that's the thing is, it's it would beaver must stand. So, but don't become a beaver if you're not a beaver.
Right.
And so that, for the guy DC Minor, right? He probably found himself in the insane asylum, and only because he found himself, he can be at peace and be a good person, be a peaceful person,
Right.
and not revert back to the thing he does before that landed him in the asylum in the first place. You
Right.
think about it. I mean, it's the spiral up or spiral down. You're gonna get out of control, but the chances the odds are gonna be against you because there's one in thousands. Because there's
I
only one of you and a thousand of not you.
agreed. And I a book that I'm reading right now, which I actually think you're gonna really like. It's this book called Made to Stick, and it's about like why certain ideas stick and don't stick. And he has like these 6 principles as to like
I think I
stickiness.
read that one.
Oh, have you? It was really good. So
Yeah.
like
Yes, I love it.
one of the third principle is about concreteness, right? Where you need to have an example to set
Mhm.
for to make abstract things. Like, we know when we say the words meaningful work and meaningful relationships, those are abstract concepts that you and I
Right.
understand. We spent a lot of time exploring this. This is a concrete example of what happens when you have meaningful work and what happens when you don't have meaningful work and meaningful
Right.
relationships. Like, one of them helps you to generate a piece of art that's helped millions and millions of people in this world. The other one, you killed a person and you're isolated and you're lonely, right? Like,
Mhm.
like, I mean, this is what meaningful work and meaningful relationships means, right? Like,
Mhm.
this is W.C. Minor is the power of meaningful work and the abstract ideas. This is a concrete example of when you have it, this is what happens, and when you don't have it, this is what happens, right? Like, and that matters.
Right. So another thing comes to mind when you were talking, is that when you're talking about meaningful work, right? And you and I have talked about meaningful work and meaningful relationship are two things that is chasing itself in a circle,
Mhm.
right? Because when you have meaningful work, meaningful relationship will come.
Yeah. So he meets
When you have
the
exact
James Murray or whatever,
exactly,
and
and
yeah,
vice versa, if you have meaningful relationship, meaningful work will come. This is where
yes,
you and I, we come together on this meaningful relationship.
right.
Whatever work will come down, it will come. That's what I'm saying is this meaningful work and meaningful relationship is like two person running on a track, right?
Yep.
Because you ask, if I ask you, if two person run on a track, who's in front, who's behind? right? They're both in front and they're both behind.
Right.
Because you run in the track.
Yeah.
And so meaningful relationship begets meaningful work. Meaningful
and
work
vice versa.
begets meaningful relationship, because they are like the dynamic duo, for the lack of a better word. So I think this is I think this, like you're saying, this is a concrete example of what we mean when we're talking about meaningful work, meaningful relationship, because this book essentially exemplifies that concept very well. Because this guy here, he's not doing anything that he is spot out of control, killing somebody, get himself locked up in a in a criminal asylum, prison, quote unquote prison, because he killed somebody, but he's insane because he has the other mental issues. When you think about it, he's been isolated from society, by society.
Right.
And so that's where the meaningful relationship comes in. But the moment he starts doing the thing that he is meant to do, is naturally inclined to do, he found this professor.
Right.
That is essentially does the same kind of work, and that brings them together. And like you were saying, they have meaningful relationship, after the professor met the guy, trying to, understand his background and all that, they become good friends, right? And so to me, I mean, you think about what's the odds of a guy that is completely isolated by society is able to meet a friend, not only a friend, but the one of the prominent authority in terms of making the Oxford English Dictionary. This is a huge monumental task that anyone can be responsible for. So a guy who is completely isolated by society, from society, befriend a person in that position.
It's wild.
What is the odds?
I mean, it's probably it's a black swan event. I mean, but like meaningful work and meaningful
relationship, put that into perspective. And for you and for me, that's not a black swan event.
No, I agree.
Bound to happen. That is bound to happen. Because
we don't know that was bound to happen. Something on an upward spiral. No,
I'm talking about if you do the thing that you're passionate about, other people who are passionate about will be attracted to you in your work.
100%.
To me, that is 100%. That's not like, hey, black swan event, and only one person in millions can be this. I believe that if you do the meaningful work, right, the thing that gives you your passion, first and foremost is you feel good about yourself, right? You love the work you do, and you can't get enough of it. And second is other people will be attracted to the kind of things you do. And that meaningful relationship,
and not only attracted, the work that you do is valuable to a lot of other people, right? Like that's like when you have meaningful work.
Well, I think that's the glue. I mean, the attraction comes from the value, because you value. I mean, as far as humans concerned, we place values in different things, and we are only attracted to the values. So if a person has the value, we are attracted to that person with that value, right? Because let's say you and your wife, right? There are certain qualities in your wife that you like, right? Because you value them. You value beauty, you value consideration, you value kindness, you value integrity. Imagine if you value those things and she doesn't have it. Let's say she doesn't have integrity, she doesn't have kindness, she's basically a totally different. Would you be attracted to her? You would not be. I guarantee you would not be. That's what I'm saying is
not unless I was for some reason attracted to like eating a frog. She was a frog or something like that, and I was like, well, I have to eat a frog.
That's my point's still valid, because you value the frog. Therefore, you.
No, I know. I was kidding. I was trying to. I was joking. No, in no way, shape, or form would I ever want to be in a relationship where like that didn't.
But no one would, because to me, this is human nature. No one would. You only attract to the people, the group of people, whether it's men or women or whatnot, is because they bring value. You and I are good friends because you and I have common value. I learn a lot from you. You bring a lot of value to me, and I'm hoping that I can bring the same to you. That's why we're talking today.
Right.
And so
I mean, yeah,
that's the value. That's what brings us together.
right.
It's the value of, because you make good sense in terms of what you say, right? And I say,
Right.
well, that's something that's, I did not consider. Therefore, I would, be beneficial to learn from Chris.
Right.
So this is why I value some of these discussion that we have, and that's why this is relationship makes it work. And we are very, very enthused whenever we get to talk.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if you and I are on some kind of vacation for, extended holiday, whatever, it's like,
Yeah.
dang, I'm just not feeling myself.
Yeah.
It's like
No, I
something's
agree. Yeah.
missing.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. No, that's it's I love I just love tying these two books together with Made to Stick and this, because it just, I think the thing that made that it was a big aha for me was the abstract nature of when you get deeper and deeper down a rabbit hole of an abstract concept. I mean, that's one of the things I love about values is they're abstract. Like, they're 100% abstract. It is up to you how you interpret what values are and what you value, and how to go be attracted to that or not attracted to that. Like, there is no clear cut answer to it. That's why they are so versatile for me, is because, like, they're not concrete. Like, I can make them concrete in any different way that I want to make them concrete.
Well, it has to be dynamic, because you think about,
Right.
if I, let's say I'm of a certain characteristic. Let's say for me, right, I'm very good at analytics. Right, I can do coding. I already have that strength. I need to
Mhm.
go find something that I'm not good at because I
Right.
needed that. So my value when I'm looking for things that to make me whole.
Right.
What I
Right.
need, what I am missing. So for you, you are of a different type, because you from different background, different gene, different genetic makeup. You have certain strength, and there's certain thing you're missing. So you value thing that you're missing, and so the value in itself cannot be concrete, because it's going to be different
Right. But you
based
can make it
on.
concrete through your actions. Like, you can make it come to life, and you can make it an example. Like, where when you say live, I've been thinking a lot about this, because like the whole, the point one of Made to Stick is, like, it's have something profoundly simple at its core, right? And at the core of what we're trying to do is profoundly simple. It's focus on your values, but then it's like, but that's still abstract, right? Like, what does that mean? And that's one of the things that you and I have been exploring together, for the past, multiple years now, of, like, what does that mean? How do we bring that to life? How do we make this concrete? And, like, the more that I've thought about this whole journey that we've been on, is every day we make it a little bit more concrete. Each one of these lessons that we talk about is one more step to show an example of how this is concrete, to tell a story about how this is concrete, to tell a story around what does focus on your values mean? Like, what does that even mean? Like, because if you walked up to somebody and they were like, True, what's the secret to happiness in life? And you're like, well, just focus on your values. And you're going to go, what the fuck does that mean? Like, like, I don't understand. Like, and you're like, yeah, because we've spent 300 plus books and 2.5 years of talking about every single day of understanding what that means to us, right? And you and I understand, but if somebody else, and it's profoundly simple, it took a lot of knowledge and a lot of conversations to get to the point in time to say, this is a profoundly simple concept of how you can go about finding sustainable happiness in your life and fulfillment in your life. But like, nobody would understand this, but, like, this is the beauty of this whole journey, is we are making it concrete every single day. I mean, I forget, what did we even talk about yesterday? Oh, Wim Hof. Like, what does focus on your values mean about, the here and now, and how that relates to focusing on your values? And today we're talking about how meaningful work, can help do this, and how this guy turned that into focusing on his values, and how this became this. Like, it all just is starting to, like, it all starts to come together. It's slowly but surely.
I mean, it's to ultimately explain the simple concept of meaningful work, meaningful relationship. What the heck does that mean, right?
What does that mean? Like, I mean, this is, I mean, I remember when we started to talk about the word clubbing when we were building the website together, and we're like, we were like, this is a purpose-driven, an ecosystem for purpose-driven human beings to produce meaningful work and meaningful relationships. And like those words mean something to me, and I understand it, and I think you understand it. But I think that if anybody came to our website and they were like, what the fuck does that mean? Like,
a beaver must stand. What the hell does that mean?
right, a beaver must stand. What the fuck is that? Well, actually, that actually helps. So, like, that actually makes it more concrete, is to say, look, oh yeah, well, beavers dam and a beaver must dam. Oh, okay, like that's what meaningful work means, or so, But I think our challenge ahead of us is as we continue to figure out how to turn this into something concrete and tangible for other people, in our own ecosystem of Clubany that we're trying to build, is to come up with ways to make this concrete. And I think that we're getting closer by saying, like, what if I just gave you $80,000 a year to go produce whatever you wanted to go produce, and then you could turn that into, if it became valuable enough for somebody else to want to buy, and you made more, generated economic, capital out of it, fine. Like, you get to keep that. But besides that, like, that's as concrete as we can give, because we can say, like, if you took out money and you took out, corporate structure and hierarchies and, whatever else, and we just focused on the things that humans need the most, which is security, safety, a community, and the ability to go produce meaningful work that matters to them, right? Like, if we took all those elements and just gave you the opportunity to go do that, like, what could you create? That's the question that we ask people, like, that gets them curious, right? Like, that's when they can go on this adventure with us, and then we can leave them clues along the way, which is what we're doing in these stories every single day. And what we're doing when we're recording these videos every single day is we can say, hey, you're not going to understand this at the beginning, but just go take this mystery tour with us, right? Go down this adventure to say, what would happen if you if you could just go do whatever you wanted to go do every single day? What could you produce? What might this life look like, right? Like, and then take this journey with us, and we'll leave you little clues every step along the way, and slowly but surely you'll figure this out as you go, because we can't tell you what you want to know right now. We can't explain to you what meaningful work and meaningful relationships is yet, but slowly but surely over time, if you go with us on this journey, we will take you there, right? Like, and we're still going, like, I mean, we're not there yet either. Like, we're always going to be on our own journey, but that is what we're doing. Like, like, and it's fucking cool.
Yeah. So it also reminds me of something I just think about, how Michelangelo is, he chisel out, because when you first look at a boulder of rocks, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't, I mean, how can I explain to you that, hey, Venus de Milo is inside of that rock, right? And so it's same thing. Same thing with Clubany. Like, I can't tell you how it is, but if I tell you to chip away certain things, eventually the art will come out.
Right.
And to me, when you're talking about how I can't explain to you right away what Clubany is and how this thing is, really comes together. And so having the ability to kind of give the concrete example, like you were saying, help to kind of solidify the idea or the concept that we're trying to elucidate. And it reminds me of, having just a boulder, but it's a big rock.
Right.
And the thing is, you can't see anything in it. But eventually, if you chip out the right part, right, and chip out the wrong part and leave in the right part, eventually an art will emerge. And I think that's, in a way, I can think of Clubany as that concept, if that makes sense. I mean, I don't know if it even aligned, but that's what comes to my mind.
No, it does. I mean, and that's an example that I think other people can understand. Where they're like, oh yeah, well, David wasn't always David, but then someday David became David. Like, and you're like, oh, okay, like, and for us, like, I think we saw David.
But you think about it, right? It's the analogy of, you have to remove the things that is not supposed to be there, right, and leave the things that's supposed to be there. So there are certain things that you do today, you and I both do today, that is not aligned with our core values, right? And we don't even know. I mean, before this, I didn't even know my core values. I thought I knew, but most of what I knew was what I was told or what I heard. Mm-hmm. And people say, hey, you should be hustling and bustling and whatever. And that's what I took as my core values. But looking back at it, that's not me. I don't like to hustle and bustle. Maybe other people do, but I don't like it. I like
Right.
to be a peaceful person. I like to be like, a Mexican fisherman, just, fish a little, enjoy the life, I'm not here to, change the world. I don't really care. There are people who does, and that's great.
Right.
But I'm not that person. So I don't want to be hustling and bustling to change the world, because,
Yeah.
it's like you asking me to go on a hunt with a wolf of pack, a pack of
But
lions, I'm a fucking beaver.
it's the words that you just said, it almost makes me chuckle, like, the understanding, like, this journey that we've been on, like going back in time. Like, you could have just basically said, well, bird by bird, I'm not going to be, I want to be a beaver, and and I want to, and I got a dam, and I don't want to run for trains along the way, and I want to do XYZ. Like, all these words that you were just saying, like, I understand what you're saying. These are all
Right.
little concrete stories along the way that go further reinforce what you're trying to get to. Like, people would never understand, like, the string of words that you just put together. They're going to be like, what the
What?
are you talking about? Like bird by bird, a beaver must dam, definitely shouldn't be running for trains, and blah 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 blah. You're like, I mean, the more that you just continue to go on it, it's just like, for somebody else, this is like speaking another
It's
language.
foreign language.
It is, and it is like, but that's the funny thing, though, is like, if you go on this journey with us, one week you're going to learn, or one day you're going to learn about bird by
Beaver must
bird.
dam.
Next one you're going to learn about a beaver must dam. And the next one you're going to learn about I don't run for trains. And you're going to not only learn about it, you're going to have a contextual conversation between two people that are talking about, well, what does this mean? And how does this relate to focus on your values? How does this relate to meaningful work and meaningful relationships? Like, and I mean, it just blows me away. The more that, like, you start to like peel back the put the rock back on, like, and you can see where we started from, and slowly
Right.
it chiseled away, like, to your point. Like, I mean, it is pretty awesome. Like, I mean, and like, that's the power of meaningful work. Like, it's like, you can create something magical and something artistic that only you could see, but like, now you can help others to see it when they go, oh, like, I see the finished product. Like, I don't know how you got to that, but like, whoa, we're showing you, like, like we're literally showing you through, bird by bird, through this entire journey, of what that means.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I mean, it is cool. But the thing is, we've been doing this for the last 200 episode, or 99, 200 now today. And all this, I mean, all the books that we've done, right? And this is not like we didn't even plan for it, because we didn't know. We didn't know shit. So, but in the beginning, before we do all these books, right? We wanted to have this meaningful work, meaningful relationship. But books after books, reflection after reflection, all points back and solidifying the fact that we are right on the nose on the meaningful work and meaningful relationship. Everything that we've done, everything, all the reflection we talk about, all says the same thing: meaningful work, meaningful relationship. That's
Focus
the
on your
key.
values. Yeah. And focus
That's
on
the
your
key,
values. Yeah.
right? You can't have meaningful work. You cannot have meaningful work, right, if you don't focus on your values. I mean,
yeah. I mean, that's the core that leads to
to simplify, to remove everything excess, right? Say meaningful work, meaningful relationship. You think about that, right? If you can say with meaningful work, and then core values, and you don't have to talk about core value, because you cannot have meaningful work without focusing on your core value. I guarantee it.
Oh, I agree.
It's not possible.
I agree.
It's not possible to have meaningful work, because the work you do, regardless how great it is to somebody, it's still a chore to you.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say, hey, I can run a big company, but for you, you don't enjoy it. Then what's the point? It's not meaningful work for you. It's not meaningful. You say, Andrew Agassi,
It's just work.
He's a fucking champion, right? You think about Andrew Agassi. He's a tennis champion. What more do you want? What more do you want? But he's not happy. It's not meaningful to him. That's what I'm saying, is just the word meaningful work itself will drag in the dependency, which is you have to focus on your core values, and your core value has to be in balance and harmony. And meaningful relationship is an other side of the coin, because it's going to be the same piece. You just have to be. It will be like meaningful work will be get meaningful relationship, and vice versa.
I agree.
And you think about it, it's not like we've gone through 365 reflection, and then we say, hey, all this thing becomes meaningful work, meaningful relationship. We start out with meaningful work and meaningful relationship, and then we start reading all this book and do our reflection. Everything boils down to that simple 4 word, right? Meaningful work. I mean, it's so simple, but even us in the beginning, we have no idea what that means. You and I keep saying, work doesn't seem right, because it has different connotations.
Right.
And before we've been, doing through all these reflection, it just have a different meaning to it. And every time we get distracted by the work, the word, right? Work, meaningful relationship. But until we start to chisel piece by piece, and the things we
Bird
view
by
to
bird.
us, bird by bird, right?
Yeah.
The thing that we view to us is meaningful work, meaningful relationship inside of that boulder.
Yeah, I agree. And even further deeper at the core is the values, that make up that stuff. And that's even, yeah. I mean, I'm 100% in alignment with what you're saying. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's just awesome what can happen when meaningful work is like the art that can get generated and created in this world that can help other people when the work is meaningful and the relationships that you do that work with are meaningful, like is truly incredible. I mean, it really is. Like, I mean, this just,
I think that's the ultimate, I guess, ultimate like present, because you are on this earth, right? What's the thing that you're supposed to do that makes you feel fulfilled, right? It's the ultimate presence. If you continue to do the things that you are able to find the missing piece, find the thing that you're missing, right? Whatever it is, because you're missing it for a reason, because you're strong in one area, therefore you're going to be weak in other. So you are searching for things that missing, so you become well-rounded. So whatever the reason why our genes make us do that, right? It doesn't matter. I don't think it matters at all, as long as whatever genes that manifest, as long as you can manifest that, your genes are happy. And when when your genes are happy, you are not being bothered, being, just what is like your just like, if your stomach is not liking the food, right? You're gonna have an upset stomach, and it's gonna make you miserable, right? If your stomach is not upset, it's calm, right? That means your gene is not acting up. You're not flaring out. You're not inflaming in any way. Then you're at peace. You think about it. Your genes expresses, just like we're talking about Sherman in a shed. His gene wants to gallop in the field and be out and free, and you put in a shed. Even the thing is, even though you shelter him from the elements and the dangers and whatever it is that you think is good for him, it wasn't, because his genes isn't supposed to do that. His gene is supposed to express in a different way. Our genes is supposed to express in a unique way as well. So you have to follow the expressions of your gene. If you do that, then you become the ultimate, fulfillment of that gene. You fulfill the expression. And when you fulfill expression, I think that's the ultimate presence.
Agreed. I mean, there's something magical about it. There's a reason why this is called the year of magical learning, right? Like, you're like, it's I don't know. This title is like, the more that we go through it, the more and more.
I mean, you think about it, the year of magical learning, right? You started calling it that early on, but I mean, you just picked it out. It's not like we went through some experience and okay, of all the things I've seen so far, I think it's fitting to say this is a year of magical learning. And I would just call it because it comes up. But it's
it didn't totally come from nowhere. It came from a year of magical thinking. But then it came from the idea that imagination is our superpower.
Fitting now that we're going through all these.
But it's true. It's true. I mean, it is magical learning. Like, I mean, all of a sudden, things start to appear. This is
another example of the universe conspires to help you achieve it. Once.
Yeah, it makes sense. Sometimes you say stuff that you don't understand. Like, in a weird way, the title, "A Year of Magical Learning," is pretty profoundly simple. Like, people would go, it's abstract, and we're giving concrete examples along the way, but like it's transforming us. like, and I know that it's transforming. That's what magic is magic has the power to transform, right? And like, we're transforming through learning. I mean, it really is like a magical experience. Like, I mean, I can't explain it to you. Like, I don't know that I could give you a concrete
But
example.
I don't think anyone can explain it either, because
No,
you
no.
look at
Because it's
us,
magic. You can't explain magic. You're not supposed to
two
explain
guys,
magic.
yeah, two guys
Right.
just meet up and talk about these things, and they come. To me, I can see it right in front of my eyes, right? You and I have done this core values class, right? You are taking this core values class and do this what you call it again? The semi with your team.
Our Club Any Light,
Clubbing light.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Is, to me, that's concrete
And it's
evidence
working
in front of my eyes. In front of my eyes, I'm seeing this, like, it coming to reality. That, to me, it's magical, because because that's the thing is, when we say something is magical, it is hard to believe that this can be accomplished. It is hard to believe that you actually have written 335, 336 reflections so far. And it's hard to believe that you and I have been talking
about 200
every
200
day, every day, almost every day, right? For almost 3 years. It's almost 3 years.
Yeah.
Every day for almost 3 years. I mean, the thing is, that's why when you say it's wild, it's magical, because you can't really say, can you believe it? Like,
no, I mean, I really couldn't. Like, yeah.
I don't see it. I don't see it before. I mean, when I look back, I can't believe it.
Yeah, I don't know how we're getting where we got. Once again, the whole universe conspires to make stuff happen, and then like, you don't know where you're going, but you know how we'll get there, right? Like, and we just keep going and doing stuff that's meaningful work to us, and this is what you get.
It's called magical. I just want to iterate that it's magical, because it's hard to believe that when you are doing meaningful work. The guy, W.C. Minor, submitted more than 10,000. That's
wild.
That's wild. That's magical.
Like that's magical. It is magical. Like, what's crazy is when we're done with this whole entire thing. Like, I don't care if this turns into a book or whatever. Like, I don't really give a shit, because somebody can ever go, well, how did you get to this? And we're gonna go, well, spend the next year with us. Like, here, watch a video if you want to watch the video, or just read the reflection, like, and ask us questions along the way if you're curious and you want to learn more. Like, this is what's happening with my Club Any Light. A lot of them are asking me a lot of questions about this stuff, and then we go talk about it and we explore further, and then they come back and they say, well, I just read this book that helped me to find out this, and this. What are your thoughts on that? And I'm like, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? And then I'll give them an example of something from here, and then they'll go back and they'll look at it, and then they'll continue to go. Like, I mean, like we don't even need to do anything. This is our breadcrumb trail, right? Like, this is our our clues. Like, here, take you want to take an adventure, like, to find sustainable happiness in your life. Like, we'll take you on this adventure. Like, and I'm not saying it's going to always work, but I can guarantee you that if you for some of you, like, it definitely will. And like, and I
think it would work if to me, is I'm really convinced that this is the answer. This will work, because the thing is, the value that we have, it's not concrete, it's an abstract. Values are abstract. That's why it will work, because it is going to be your value, because your values are different from mine, right? So whatever you value, if you follow it with your whole heart, meaning like, don't do it just because you want to show that, hey, on a false pretense. Don't do it on a false pretense. Do it for yourself. It will work. To me, that I'm very convinced that it will work for anyone. Just like I'm convinced that every single person that has ever born on this earth that has no missing faculties can always walk. Every one of them, 100%. Everyone, every child,
even
has always learned how to walk.
Even murderers can find meaningful work and meaningful relationships in this world. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, like, if that's not proof to anybody, like, you can like talk about this guy's life as a tale of two halves. First half, he's a destroyer. He's insane and he's killing people. Like, the second half, he helped create 10,000 submissions in the Oxford English Dictionary, and helped to be a transformational piece to a huge piece of the puzzle of something that's had probably more impact on the world than, I don't even know that you can measure the impact the Oxford English Dictionary has had on the world, and people to be able communicate and connect and share ideas and stuff like that, you know, and have a common knowledge base to talk from. Like, I mean, like that's incredible. Like, I mean,
Right.
I don't know. We don't need to belabor the point. I think we've you know, beat the horse.
But I want to stress the point that I think, and I completely are convinced that this one will work 100% if you take it without false pretense. Just like I say, you know, there are certain things that you think is almost impossible to do. It's walking. A person to walk, that is a huge feat.
Yeah.
But every single person has always figured out how to walk, you know, except, you know, when you're born with difficulties, but that's an exception.
Right.
But if you have all your faculties, every single person, billions of people, not I mean billions out of billions, walked successfully, all of them. So to me, this is as fundamental as a person walking.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and all you got to do is just keep trying each day until you can figure it out, and then keep trying after you figure it out, because it's hard. You got to still walk every day to maintain. If you stop walking, you'll stop walking. You know, like you got to keep walking every day after you figure out how to walk too. You know, so.
But the thing is, when you learn how to walk, do you want to stop walking?
No, of course not. But I'm
So
saying that if you did stop walking,
same thing with core values. Same
Yeah.
thing with meaningful work.
Right.
When you have meaningful work, do you want to stop doing it?
No,
Let's say,
of course not.
let's say you. I mean, the thing is, I'm assuming you are a tennis player and you love tennis because for the sake of loving tennis, not because you want to be a champion or
Sure.
have other outcome. You're gonna play tennis until you can't play tennis anymore because you don't want to stop.
Right.
Are you with me? Right? Am
Yeah.
I right
Yeah,
in saying that? Because whatever that makes you feel great, why would you want to stop? So walking the same thing,
Yeah.
meaningful work is the same thing. When you find meaningful work, if the work you're doing has an outcome, right? That is not meaningful work. I mean, it's not universally saying that without an outcome. If it has an outcome only, then that not necessarily is going to be meaningful work. Meaningful work means that you do things because it gives you energy. You're passionate about it. You're passionate about it, not passionate about the outcome it can give you. Not the same thing, okay?
Yeah.
Because when
Agreed.
you play tennis, great. Like Andre Agassi, you play tennis, great. The outcome it gives you is money, fame, and this and that, but you're still not happy.
Right.
But the fact of playing for the art, right? You do whatever you do. The meaningful work is the art itself. Then you won't stop. If you are Michael Phelps, right? You swim. You love to swim. Even if you retire from the Olympic, you're gonna swim every day just because that's what you like to do.
Right.
But if you swim for the sake of winning a gold medal, right? After you stop competing in the Olympic, you don't want to swim. Then that's not your meaningful work. I mean, think about it.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. It's funny. Like, this is my final talk, so I gotta go to bed. But it's funny because like you know, like just giving running as an example. Like, okay, great, you ran a marathon, or you ran. I've never personally ran a full marathon, so the longest I've ever run is 17 miles. I ran 17 miles in one day, and the next day I woke up and I was like, well, what do I do today? And I go, I don't. What do you mean? What I do? I'm gonna go run again. You know, like I mean, like I don't. It wasn't like well, I just ran 17 miles. I can go take 3 weeks off because I accomplished my 17-mile goal. You know, it's like, oh, I just happened to run 17 miles yesterday.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's a concrete example of what meaningful work means.
Right. You're like, well, what do I do today? Well,
I'm gonna run again.
do the same thing. I mean, what do you mean? Like, I wasn't doing that yesterday to run 17 miles. I didn't set out today and say I'm gonna go do 17 miles. Like, you
ran for the running, not
right.
run 17 miles, right?
Right. Exactly.
So that's a concrete example. So people need to take that concept and let your brain marinate a little bit and try to see what we mean when we say meaningful work.
Exactly. Well, that was a fun convo. Question we can leave for you guys is what is your meaningful work that keeps you from going insane? Because it definitely will keep you
will
from
go
going
insane if you get annoyed by the people who telling you things that you hate to do.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, this is why people call, like, people say, "Hey, go on postal," because people get stressed out. Telling people, you get people telling them what to do, and they don't want to do it, and you pressure them too much. Eventually, they go postal. So
Yeah.
same thing is, I mean, this question is not far-fetched from
No,
reality.
no, not at all. No, it's not at all. I mean, like, I mean, it's very actually, like, I mean, hell, I went a bit insane when I was younger, and I didn't understand. I started having panic attacks. I mean, I literally, my brain started breaking, because I was thinking that I was in a fearful situation every single day because I hated the work so much, right? And like I was going insane. I mean, I think that you could say that panic and anxiety is going insane when you don't have panic and anxiety. It's not like there was a viper, you know, at work every day that I was seeing that was causing my heart rate to spike and my, you know, my blood to rush in my, you know, get warm everywhere and sweat all over the place and, you know, whatever else like that was going on every single day when I entered into the work environment. Like my body and mind were not connected, you know, at all anymore. And I was in the wrong environment. Like, I mean, like that's what happens when you start to go insane. I could have kept going down that road and I'm sure I would have developed more and more, you know, diseases and probably, you know, bad habits. And
you're gonna kill
you know,
yourself or you're gonna kill
right,
someone else.
right, exactly. I mean, like what you know, it just it depends on how far you take it. You know what I mean? Like until, but eventually you're gonna break. You know,
Yep.
and if you're not doing the stuff that you know, beaver must dam, right? You know, so all right, let's put a pin in it. That was a fun conversation, and we will see everyone tomorrow.
Tomorrow sounds good. Good night.
Good night.